Hey cats, it's Ed, extremely hot bud here, boiling here right now. I'm going to try and get this video done in super quick time. Today I've got the viewers' top most used running shoes of 2022 so far. Hey cats, thanks for joining me here on the channel, it's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications so you're notified. It also helps the channel out a huge amount if you give this video a thumbs up like, but also share it with your running buddies. Dankeschön. A little while ago I put out a poll on the community section of the YouTube channel. Loads and loads of you took part in the poll, letting me know what were your favourite most used running shoes of 2022 so far. So I got a few stats for you. It's taken me a while to crunch all the numbers. I got a bit of rolling pin and I sort of smashed them all up because that's how we do it. Got a load of the stats here, so 101 different shoe models. Can you believe that there are 101? And that's just sort of scratching the surface, isn't it? So in total, 544 pairs were logged on the special spreadsheet. No surprise that Nike had the most number of votes there, or at least recorded number of pairs. They had 164, which was by far the most, followed by Saucony in second. That's a bit of a surprise to you. They had 93 and Adidas were in third with 71. I think New Balance were just behind them with 57 and then Asics with 56, literally one pair behind. So Nike were ahead, they had about 30% of the whole lot really, and then 17.1% for Saucony. You know, those two makes alone are taking up close to 50% of all of the votes recorded. I think that says a lot about the state of the market right now. I bet there's somebody out there thinking,
hang on a minute, we need to adjust what we're doing here.
There's certainly some exciting Nike shoes. You know, not all of them perhaps are that exciting, but Saucony seem to have got it just right at the moment. There's some real dominance there by 3 or 4 brands across this survey, so some really interesting stuff when you dig down. So, some observations here. Some of the shoes that appear on this list that are very popular with the runners out there are ones which have been recently discounted, or at least have got a more reasonable retail price to start with. Let's not forget that this was the most used and enjoyed running shoes of the viewers right now. This isn't about what they think is the best or the most expensive. These are the most used, the ones that people are picking up and putting on and running in more often than others. So it does appear that more sort of daily or versatile shoes do appear here a little bit more. It certainly is the case that shoes which feature Pebax based midsole material feature higher in this list, or at least some of the super critical midsole shoes are right up there. 7 shoes in the top 10 do have a Pebax or super critical midsole foam. I'm not going to stick the shoes back here today, guys. I'm going to try and keep it a bit of a mystery as I work my way through. So please don't spoil it for anybody who's watching this video down in the comments too much. If you can, be guarded, you know, no spoilers, okay? So here come the results. Now, at number 10, we have a 3-way tie. The Saucony Endorphin Speed 1, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 and the Pegasus 38. All 3 of these shoes had 16 votes each, so that's about 2.9% each of the total number of pairs. So across the entire vote you can see that there's some interesting shoes going to appear here. Not perhaps what you'd expect. There's some very varied shoes there. Certainly the Pegasus 38, which I think some people just really didn't get on with. A lot of people really enjoyed. That was one that I got a lot of miles into and they were all really enjoyable miles. We all know the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, but it appears that not quite as many people have picked that one up as we would assume. And the Saucony Endorphin Speed 1 was the most enjoyed and used shoe by the viewers last year. And there's been some deeper discounts on all 3 of those pairs recently. That is a recurring theme in this top 10. So those shoes kind of occupy positions like 11, 10 and 9 really. It's a dead heat, a tie with those. So moving on to position number 8 next. 17 votes and 33% of the overall vote. It's the Vaporfly Next Percent Original. Now, I reckon lots of people picked up pairs of these, raced in them a few times perhaps earlier in the year, and then have got out using those shoes more as like a higher tempo shoe. People have them stored up for racing, perhaps had got a fair few miles in, perhaps up to 100 or something, and then decided to implement them and utilize them as a training shoe. They've still got a really nice forgiving underfoot feel, even after you've kind of raced in them a few times. No one's going to check those out. They go on for miles and miles. And of course, again, there's been some deep discounts on the Vaporfly Next Percent Original. So that's at position number 8. We're at position 7 now. It's the Nike Air Zoom Alphafly Next Percent. Again, you see, deeper discounts here, more people picking these up, and I noticed loads of people utilising these for training as well now. I know one chap locally that does all of his running in the Alphafly Next Percent, purely for that reason. If you just need something perhaps more forgiving underfoot after a very hard session, perhaps you're going to go out and do a very long run and you just want the maximum amount of cushion, the Alphafly Next Percent's the shoe. Even recently there's been loads of very deep discounts on that shoe with the release of the Alphafly Next Percent 2. So that one's in position number 7. It's position 6 next. It's the Hoka Mach 4. 19 votes, and that's 3.5% of the total recorded votes. It wasn't one of my favourites, I've got to be honest. It felt a little bit like running on balsa wood at times, but lots of the viewers out there like it. And if it's good enough for you guys, then it's good enough for anyone. Just missing out on the top spots here, that sort of magic top 5. Perhaps I need to get some more miles into my pair of the Mach 4. You know, they were nice and nimble, I suppose. I did have to sub the laces out. They were just far too stretchy, the originals. Makes me wonder whether I've missed out on something. Perhaps I should pick up the Mach 5 and give it a whirl. Perhaps that will appear in next year's list. At position number 6, it's the Hoka Mach 4. Into the big top 5 now. I don't think I can contain my excitement. I shall try though. If you're enjoying the rundown so far, don't forget to give us a super thanks down below. It really helps support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. At position 5 and 4, again we've got a dead heat as a tie. The Rebel 2 from New Balance and the Adizero Adios 6. Two more nimble shoes there really. Super squashy cushioned foam in the Rebel 2 and something a little bit more firm and responsive in the Adios 6. These two options though are clearly right up there though in terms of the viewers. They both had 21 votes each. So that's just below 4% of the entire vote for each shoe. So if you put those together, 8%, I mean, you're getting off of 10% there of the entire votes just for these two shoes. That goes to show just how well regarded they are amongst the viewers of the channel. You know that the Adios 6 was a really big shoe for me. I'm loving the Adios 7. It's got all the same hallmark kind of features built in. The Rebel 2 perhaps just lacked a little bit for me, I suppose. It kind of fell into an odd position where it was very, very cushioned, but I felt it more a daily sort of shoe. In fact, I think some of the best runs that I had in the Rebel 2, where I was lumbering around with a big backpack full of stuff, and they were just super cushioned, yet very light. We're into the big 3 now. What do you reckon they could be, guys? Just make a little mental note there. Perhaps you could write them down on a piece of paper and see if you're right. Play a game. It's like an interactive game show. I like it. At position 3, it's the Asics Nova Blast 2. 5.7% of all the votes were taken up by this cushioned daily contender. I felt it had an improved fit over the Nova Blast version 1. The laces were much better, in fact, in the Asics Nova Blast 2. There's very few shoes out there that are so versatile as the Nova Blast 2. They had such a soft midsole. It had a very characterful feel. There's nothing quite like that shoe. I think one of the great things about the Asics Nova Blast 2 is it's so readily available. You can wander down your local Sports Direct and pick up a pair, no problem at all. And I have no surprise to see it here in 3rd position in terms of the viewers' most used and favourite shoes of 2022 so far. Position number 2. It's the Zoom X Goliath, the impervious, invincible run Flyknit. This had 9.2% of all of the votes on the survey. That's 50 votes total, which is quite staggering, isn't it? The cushioned cruiser of maximum squash and priest-like foot forgivingness. Well, it is now. 2nd place for the Invincible Run, and I think again this is down to those deep discounts that we've seen on the shoe with the release of the 2nd version. The viewers have placed this one very high on the chart, based on their frequent mile mastication. The 2nd version of the shoe picked up only a fraction of votes this time round, but I bet you anything that next year it'll appear very highly on this list. So, what's top of the tree then? What do you think it could be? I don't think there's any major surprise here. It's the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. This took the #1 spot over the Invincible run by 3 votes, 53 total across the whole survey. So that's about 9.7% of all of the votes. So we're close to 10% there. Went to the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. No surprise to see this shoe making the top spot. Its predecessor did so last year. The second iteration just delivers more of the same with a very slightly more refined upper. And it still smells like a garden centre. There you go, Nike. A very successful shoe here from Saucony. Very simple, less is more approach. Pebax foam here with a nylon plate. It was all there, on a plate really for you, but Saucony have stolen it. And with some deep discounts on this shoe right now, I don't think there's a better one out there. Aside from the Adios 6, which I really love. But this one's great too, so if you haven't picked it up already, which I'd be very surprised considering the results of this survey, you know what to do. I wonder if we'll see this Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 appear on next year's poll. I put my nylon plate on it. Was your favourite in this one? Did it appear? If you're wondering where some of the other shoes appeared, maybe your favourites, do drop me a comment down below and I'll see what I can do. What do you think is going to be up next year? Let me know your predictions for 2023 down in the comments. And thanks for voting, by the way, all of you. It was a really enjoyable experience putting this one together. Musical interlude time. We're heading back to 2014 for today's musical interlude. It's from Mac DeMarco and it's called Salad Days. Kind of feels a bit of like a salad day today. It's so hot you just can't really eat anything else. The idea of eating something very hot and sort of stodgy just seems crazy. There's some lovely whimsical pop tunes on this one from Mac DeMarco. I particularly like the Heat Hazy Chamber of Reflection. This one's got this analog synth in the background that's sort of warbling around. You kind of feel everything sort of moving around a little bit, like a wobbly jelly. Some great drums on some of these tracks as well on Salad Days. Really dry, really funky. Mac DeMarco sounds almost like he's going to fall asleep on a couple of tracks. It's the ideal listening material during a heat wave. The funk that is dished out on Goodbye Weekend is just off the charts. Absolutely one to check out if you're unfamiliar with Mac DeMarco material. Salad Days from 2014. Thanks for tuning in, people. I'm going to throw myself into a vat of ice cubes right away. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. Also, give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's Eddbud and I'll be seeing you. Almost forgot, I've got some extra stats for you here. So I have 164 Nike shoe votes. 130 of those were for shoes that had some Zoom X within the midsole. That leaves only 34 with React or something else. The Nova Blast 2 from Asics had more votes than all of the other Asics shoes put together. The Pegasus 38 from Nike was the only non-Zoom X shoe that had more than 15 votes. Everything else was way below that. This is quite a staggering one. 57% of all Saucony's votes were for the Speed 2. So that's by far and away the favourite Saucony shoe from the viewers. And 2 shoes from Adidas made up 33% of all of their votes. I think that was the Takumi Sen 8 and the Adios 6. Everything else was way down there. Oh, I love numbers. Fantastic.